Welcome to Wicked Politics. Before we go into today's news or whatever Bob and I have to say, please listen if you like what you hear today to Breathing with Bierman. I'm on, I don't know how much you can see there. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and other great platforms. What about you, Bob?
Yeah, I am on Instagram, instagram.com/Bob Carson MMA, youtube.com/Bob Carson MMA, and also Facebook too, facebook.com/Bob Carson MMA.
Check me out, Breathing with Bierman on Facebook, YouTube. What else am I on? We're not on Spotify yet. So, Bob, big news. Slowly but surely, Merrick Garland, who else? The indictment of Donald Trump. What's your take, feelings?
Last night when this came over the wire, I was listening to talk radio, and there wasn't much information known about this because they didn't reveal the charges. But now, Baker, the attorney down there in Florida, or U.S. attorney, I'm sorry, he revealed a 38-count indictment, revealed 31 counts against Donald Trump, which we now have more information on. Now, as far as the specific charges, some of them are conspiracy charges. Some of them are intending to hide conceal a document during a federal investigation. There are some lengthy charges, and I will say this. I mean, I had an opportunity to look at it briefly before we're on air here. It does appear that this is there's a little more merit to this indictment, maybe than perhaps the Alvin Bragg indictment in New York City. Supposedly, there was a tape of Donald Trump, a secret recording. This has been reported by, I believe, CNN, where Donald Trump admits that he had taken classified documents. There's a video of him supposedly pointing to a document saying this document is classified. Trump had claimed that he declassified this or tried to declassify this.
In his mind, he
yeah,
said.
when he was president. But his lawyers never made that argument in court. He appears to be showing these documents to people of his staff in Bedminster. His attorneys have not made that argument. One of his attorneys, I believe, left today, quit, and so this doesn't look good for him. The fact that there are so many documents, the fact that he knew that there were classified documents, and I don't know what ramifications this is going to have for his election, because I don't think it's really going to matter. The Republican base, they're still going to vote for Trump. I don't know how much this makes a difference for the country, if you could really make an argument that this is a makes a big difference for the country. But he's doing court on Tuesday in New York, and this
I thought
Miami.
Miami, I thought is where he was going.
You could be right. Yeah, I thought I saw New York, but this is. And then the question, the political question is, okay, what happened to Biden? Biden had classified documents. The Trump people are going to say, Biden had classified documents next to his Corvette in his garage. What's going to happen with that? I mean, Biden took documents when he was a senator, when he wasn't president. Trump was president, had the power to declassify these documents. So, but the point is, and also I want to point out too that the presiding judge over this case, it was a Trump appointee back in 2019, and this judge, I don't remember her name, but she previously ruled in favor of Trump. So, this idea that it's a witch hunt, this idea that that this is a political target, that the Biden administration is trying to take out their number one competitor for the 2024 election. That could be, but it doesn't look good, the fact that this is a Trump appointed attorney in terms of it being a conspiracy against Trump.
Yeah, well, my feelings on Trump too. This is beyond the norm and the pale, and he's continued on and everything. Maybe I told you the story. It's a anecdote. A good friend of mine's friend was playing golf with Trump and Johnny Miller, a famous golf player. Trump, of course, was cheating when he was playing golf in Mulligan's. Johnny Miller finally said, Mr. Trump, if you continue to do this, I can't play with you. And he said, look, I cheated in business. I cheated on my wife. I cheated in everything. I'm here to win. It's Trump. I mean, the man's crazy. And again, I'll go back to, and even though he was impeached, I do believe that he was in foreign policy. He was telling Ukraine, unless you give me something on Hunter Biden, I'm not going to give you any money. The insurrection, which he knows he lost the election too. I mean, that's the thing. No one seems to care. I mean, his supporters, if he said, it's on tape in the investigation, I can't believe I lost to Joe Biden and everything. It's just beyond the pale. And I understand you could throw in, well, what about Joe Biden? That's what his defense is going to do. And that's what they should do. Hey, they're lawyers. They're going to throw things against the wall. But I just get this feeling, the slow, steady progression of this trial, and these prosecutors they wouldn't indict this guy if they didn't think they could really start having everything stick. But I agree with you. Even if he's indicted, he could still run for president. He's not being convicted. Yeah, I mean, what if he's 35 and years old and a citizen of the U.S. and everything? So this is going to continue to cause havoc, I think, in the Republican Party. Privately, a lot of Republicans wish this would all disappear and he would go, but they're afraid of his base. I don't, I still think, with all these people running, it helps Trump that he doesn't have to face DeSantis alone or anyone else alone. We'll see how it works out. But come election time, right now, the election was today, he would lose. I think he would lose. I think people are getting more and more disgusted. Mainstream America, independents, people who usually vote Republican who didn't vote, this guy's bad. He's bad news. He's crazy. And he's a whiner and he's a punk and he never admits guilt. That's what he does. But he just,
yeah, it's interesting, because even if he's, I don't know, what if he isn't, he's going to be indicted, or he was indicted, but most likely, like from what I see now, there's going to be some guilty, either he's going to be found guilty or he's going to have to plead guilty. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, it seems like Jack Smith has serious evidence against Trump. This is the documents, tapes, witnesses. This is not a phantom case, I don't think. And a lot of Trump surrogates were on radio yesterday saying, "Well, look at the timing. This came out the day of the Hunter Biden announcement, indictment announcement, and this is a way to deflect from Hunter Biden." I think that this case is going to go forward, and Trump, as you pointed out, has two other cases. The one in New York, I think that's on shaky ground, and then the one in Georgia, the voting case in Georgia. So he's got three criminal probes and charges against him, two of which he's been indicted for, which is unprecedented for a president, a former president. And look, again, I'm independent, I'm fair. This is a political witch hunt, blah blah blah. If this goes on, if he continues to get indicted, and there are more charges in the future, if you look at, I don't think you can make that case at this point. I think there is merit to this, and I don't know what's going to happen even if he is found guilty. I mean, he's probably not going to go to jail. I doubt it, but it's going to be interesting. But politically, I don't think it hurts him at all. I think. It may help. I don't think Trump's supporters would care if he punched somebody in the face, if he assaulted them, or if he did this or did that. I think they like him. They like the way he talks. They like the way he governed the country. The fact that he's not your typical politician in their view. They like this, so they don't care. This is going to be a witch hunt to them, regardless of the facts. But Bill O'Reilly said something interesting. I listened to Bill O'Reilly on WABC.
He's back on Bill O'Reilly's back on ABC. I didn't even know that. Well, I knew he'd come back. Bill O'Reilly, I believe he's a very, whether you like him about, the man's talented. I read the Man in the Foxhole about it, like a liberal who worked at Fox. He said Bill O'Reilly, besides being talented and speaks well, he can read a whole script, memorize it. He prepared the show in his own head, and he knew how to keep an audience. He knew how to talk. I mean, the guy has talent. I could see how they couldn't keep him down. He has an anger issue, obviously, with women especially. But anyway, what did Bill say?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I listened to him. He said that if there's a tape, if there's a videotape, or if there's a recording of Trump saying that, that would be different. His opinion would change. I didn't get a chance to listen. I'm gonna try to listen to him tonight. Although usually he's not in on Fridays, but I like to see now if there is a recording of Trump saying that this was a class. I like to see what his opinion is going to be, because he always claims he's a fair arbiter. That
Oh,
he's not. Even though he knows Trump for a while, he said, "Listen, this is it for Trump. This is it. There is a tape. There is evidence. I want to see that, because at least maybe he tries to make an effort to be fair. Where a lot of other talk radio hosts, they're just surrogate. They're loyal to Trump. They're blind to Trump regardless of the."
yeah. Yeah, the ratings. Fox News. I mean, Fox News never wanted Trump. They wanted Jeb Bush. They wanted Christie. They wanted the guy in Florida, Mario Rubio, and then of course it came out with the emails when Fox got sued by the election people. Well, I forget the name of the election group right off the bat. I mean, they were saying the guy's an idiot. He's a liar. I mean, again, this is the weird thing about, and Trump is always right about this. He goes, it's if you just keep saying it, and people like the way you make them feel, they'll stick by you. And enough people, at least for the primaries, have. Because Fox, those tapes, I mean, no one has ever, and no one has questioned the authentic, the emails that Tucker Carlson said. What do they call Trump? An idiot. He's a loser. He knew he lost. I mean, Murdoch and everything. And it just continues. It continues. But I just hope this sick, sleazy circus, and Russia benefits from this. China benefits from this. They want dissension. They want polarization, and Trump has given it to them. That's one reason I could see Trump, being part of some Russian collusion. He asked Russia and China, when asked, would you accept their help if to get dirt on Joe Biden? He said yes. Of course, but they don't really have to do much. He fits the KGB playbook. Someone who could be manipulated so easy because of his own narcissism and driving need to win at all costs, and in any way you can. The rules don't apply to him. But call me Pollyannish, but at the end of the day, in this country, even with the flirting with fascism and the election deniers and hitting on the cornerstones of our democracy, I think sanity does persevere, and people like that at the end do themselves in. And it's been but Trump's been going on for a while doing this, but he does. And not that I'm wishing he will die. I'm not saying this, but this is a guy who should be dying. His diet. I think he's on. Yeah, I mean, he looks awful.
He consumes a lot of fast food. I do admire Trump because he is technically heavy. He's a big guy. He's like 6'2", 6'3". He's like 240. He's a big guy, but the guy has a lot of energy. He doesn't sleep. I don't know where he gets it from. I don't think he's on drugs. I don't think he's on any uppers, or I think that's just the way he is. The guy is. He probably will live till he's 90. Some people just genetically they're just like genetic horses and freaks, and he seems like that. Biden, Biden's going to turn 80, but you can't convince me that Biden's doing well. He's always falling. I mean, I don't think he's as demented as the right wing makes him out to be. That they make him out to be like he's like he's in the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But I think he is somewhat diminished. Biden, he clearly is forgetting shaking hands with people that are not there. He's had a number of different public instances that would suggest that he is under some form of dementia. I don't think there's any question about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, but one thing about, there is wisdom there. Whether you're like, I'm going to say right now, he'll go down as one of the greatest presidents ever. People think I'm crazy, but I keep on reading. If it's true, though, when it comes to things that he's been doing for years, negotiating, handling crisis, like with Ukraine and Russia and everything, then he's at his best. His, the muscle memory kicks in, and he knows how to organize. He knows how to persuade. He knows how to form a coalition. He knows how to talk to people, the give and take. I think he has that still. But then on the day-to-day, I think the guy could, he won't know where he is one day. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I don't think he knows where he is sometimes. When you look at the way he walks, he's addled. He's Reaganish. Reagan had that, though, too, though. He said when crisis came, Reagan was actually cool and collected. And also he had that, I guess from just repetition, when the camera came on, he could just remember a script and deliberate, like the great communicator. But like 5 minutes before, he was like walking around, the studio looking like an addled man who didn't know, where his car keys were. But Biden is right. Biden, whether you like the depths of the debt deal, he got it done. I think both sides knew they needed it done. And I think, he got it. And I think he did a good job giving some space and some cover for McCarthy, to at least to moderate Republicans. This deal is going to work. It's a compromise. We don't want to be seen as a party that maybe caused you default and hurt our economy and cost us jobs. Of course, McCarthy has to deal with the more right wing, whatever you want, or economic conservatives in his party. I don't know if they're ideological or they just hate deficits, but they want to, they want to cut things. Which I hate where they want to cut, though, is the things that help people. That's what I see a lot of that. I mean, the military, they never discuss cutting and everything. And I know you can't do Social Security and COLAs. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think that Biden is as diminished as his opponents would have us believe. Although, this is not the same Joe Biden. I don't think that served under President Obama. Yeah, he's a smart guy. He's been around for a long time. And I think it comes across as likable. I mean, I never disliked President Biden when he was a senator, when he talks. He's lunch pail Joe, and he's a guy that rode the train many years to the Senate. He has that personal feel to him, that he is a personal guy. But the debt deal is something that I think we knew it was going to happen. I don't hear people complaining about it anymore. I heard people like Newt Gingrich say that it was a good deal, that the Republicans got what they wanted. Then some Republican House members that were very conservative said it was terrible, was the worst thing. And supposedly some people on the Democratic side, the AOCs and other members of the some progressive caucuses said that it was horrible. So the old
Oh, yeah,
rule
the
of
far
both
left
sides.
too.
Exactly. If both extremes hated it, was a good thing. Um, yeah, I'm not surprised by them getting a deal. I think that it would take the government back to 2021 spending levels.
A
Well,
cap
what
for
are the
two
stuff really?
years. A cap for 2 years.
Yeah,
You're right. You have to work more. But there's still
yeah,
the IRS is going to get less money, but that's not going to kick in for 2 years. I don't remember all the details. I just showed up and I
right.
had it here in my paper. I left at work and everything. A lot of these things don't even kick in for 2 or 3 years. You have to read a little more of the
Yeah,
fine print and everything. And
yeah,
but and also Biden did keep money for veteran health, also from vets who soldiers who suffered from when they do those burns, like in Iraq and Afghanistan, when they take everything, all the refuse from like a base and they burn it, and it was very toxic and everything. I'd like to see one thing he's trying to do. There was more money for to help, especially seniors with prescription drugs. Some of that's been cut, which is very sad. But yeah, they kind of also kicked the can down the road. I mean, it's going to come up in now 2 years probably from now. History repeats itself, and people use it for political reasons, for ideological reasons. It kind of sucks that we have to kind of play this chicken with each other.
yeah. I don't want to see another austerity commission, another Simpson Bowles type commission where we're going to cut, because I never believed you could cut your way to prosperity, and especially with government programs that people rely on, that people depend on, and that are non-negotiable. With the voters. I mean, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Um, you know, I don't.
Hello? Oh, I think he froze. Can you hear me? I'll keep on talking though. I wonder though, the economy is strong enough. Can it absorb some of the cuts? I know hiring has
That's
continued.
it. Yeah. And so I don't know. I mean, here in New Jersey, well, yeah, it's local politics, but they're talking about a bill that they're talking about where half of senior citizens, people 65, would only have to pay half of the $9,000 a year property tax bill, and the taxpayers would have to pay the rest because they're trying to incentivize people to stay in New Jersey. Stuff like that is I know my situation, and I don't want to pay any more taxes. I like being a self-employed businessman, have my own gigs, so to speak. I pay a lot in state and local taxes. The government is far more reliant on state and local taxes, and I don't think there's an easy solution to our fiscal woes. I don't think it's the answer is progressive taxation totally. But if you are going to have to raise taxes, who are you going to raise taxes on?
Yeah.
You're going to have to raise taxes on the millionaires and billionaires. You're not going to raise taxes on people like me. You're not going to get away with it. You can't.
Right.
That's just the way it is. And I don't think you could tax these people at 100%. There's trillions of dollars offshore in corporate tax avoidance. These corporations, they've woven into their business model, tax avoidance. That's why the tax code is like something like 80,000 pages, because these corporations
Yeah,
don't want to, they don't want to pay taxes.
And let me interrupt.
That's
I think in the 70s, like people who in the top percentile, like upper middle class, whatever they made, they were paying 35 to 39%. Now they hardly pay that anymore. It seems, again, the more money you have, the more times you can get out of paying taxes, especially with good lawyers. And then these lobbyists, they just come in and all these loopholes they put in any tax legislation. That's the stuff that really, that's what I call fair share taxing. But you're right. I don't want to progressive out. I mean, the best way for things to grow is a vibrant economy. And hopefully right now with the economy growing, a lot of it's gig type work, working from and stuff that can absorb some of the tax cuts for poor people and everything. But yeah, it's always complicated. And then we have inflation. Will this slow down inflation a little bit? It's like a balloon. One thing pops up, another thing pops down.
Yeah.
But right now they've been shocked. The economy they're still adding jobs. They've been waiting for more recession, and it just hasn't been. And so someone like you, you keep the economy growing. You're the backbone of it. We can speak again on what you do. You
know what?
You're living in your car and you're working 12 hours a day in the service economy.
But here's the thing, is that the government is going to go after people like me, and they're already starting to do this now with some of the apps, like some of the Venmo stuff and some of the apps, to ensure that people like me pay taxes. So I predict that, look, the government is always going to be, so they're to go after these companies. They already pay us as independent contractors and get us under a minimum wage, and then have us pay federal taxes or whatnot. That's what I think is, because I'm seeing more and more people. I make a lot of money I've made the most money I've made in my life. But like you said, I bust my ass. I work 12, 13 hours a day. Okay. More and more people are doing this now, from what I see. People that are not necessarily in their 20s, people that are in their 40s and 50s, that are doing DoorDash, Uber, because it's quick money, and you're an independent contractor. The government's going to always try to adapt to the market. They're always going to try to catch up to people like me and try to have us pay taxes, which I don't think it's going to happen. I think this gig economy is expanding because nobody wants to go shopping anymore. People want everything now. They want everything delivered. Amazon, all this stuff. So it's not going away. But the government, the government, it's so-called 87,000 new IRS agents, which I think that's a bit of a myth. That's been kind of mischaracterized.
It goes both ways, though. From what I've heard, the IRS was cut to the bone too much, and they have antiquated technology that doesn't even work. So yeah, again, you don't want overreach, and you don't want tyranny, but at the same time, I think the Republicans did a great job demonizing, which they've done for years, demonizing the IRS and making it seem like Big Brother, like England is in your, they go back to King George all the time, in your pocket, taking everything that you want to earn and everything. There has to be a balance, of course, but yeah, unfortunately, they're going to go after someone like you, and they're going to have the technology to do it. And it's not like you have some rich lawyer to defend you. Bob, are you there? Bob, you froze. So that's what happens though.
That,
Yeah, did you hear me? You froze on me.
you dropped off for about 10, 15 seconds. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me repeat again. Yeah, I think again that's what's going to happen with this economy. Unfortunately, the IRS needs to be beefed up, and people need to pay their fair share. And it goes both ways. I don't want overreach by the IRS. I don't want them harassing working people like you in the gig economy to death. But at the same time, I think discretion should be used. They should have more, and they should talk to people one-on-one and use discretion when they go out if you haven't paid your fair share for some reason. But I know some of these fat cats. They plead poverty. They plead freedom. They plead tyranny. No, they don't care. A lot of them don't care. It's the middle class that really get hit. And I think, yeah, with the gig economy and technology, they're going to be on your ass now. They're going to they can hack into your phone, and they might start doing that now. And they're going to know how you travel.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared about. I'm not really too worried, but I'm doing well now in my life. Like I said, I'm making a really decent amount of money for someone like myself who has no kids and no wife or anything like that. And I want to save that, and make sure that the government. And when they say 87,000 IRS agents, you know who actually had a decent analysis on this? I heard a while back. Anthony Weiner, the disgraced former New York congressman. He's got a radio show now. He did like a breakdown of this a while back. I said it's
You
not
didn't see his penis, did
87,000.
you? You didn't see his penis during the
No,
radio. It didn't come out of the radio.
He sent that to a minor, I think, during a commercial break. That scumbag.
Anyway,
but he said, listen, 87,000 with the money that they're getting, it's like this figure. They could hire 87,000. They're not going to hire 87,000. And even if they did, there's no investigative powers that these people have. They don't have they can't come and start an investigation on anybody. It's a big breakdown. But
how
the
do you
IRS
train
is
them?
not.
How do you train 87,000 people at one time? Yeah, it couldn't happen that quickly. Now, upgrading technology, though, which could be far-reaching, yes, they need to. They've antiquated technology. It's from the 80s and stuff. That
you're right. Yeah, so does the Social Security Administration. The DMV, I had to call the DMV. They're playing catch up now, and they've gotten a little better with the online stuff and calling. But the government has always been an antiquated disaster. As you mentioned, somebody in my circumstances, who's in between houses right now and living. My shelter is my car.
I see your bed. I see your office and bedroom.
Notice that. Yeah. Listen, I'm getting the best night's sleep. I'm as happy as I could be. This fits my lifestyle. It's not for everybody. It fits my lifestyle. But I go deal with affordable housing. Go deal with social services, and tell me if they're equipped to help people like me. They're not. They're not at all. They're the most, in my opinion, most inefficient, wasteful government bureaucracy that we have. That if the welfare, I don't qualify because I make too much money from that. But even if I made half the money that I make now, I still wouldn't qualify for any. All they do is, okay, here's a list of resources. Here's a list of churches. Unless you maybe fit another demographic or you have children. But I'm telling you, conservatives make it sound like the welfare and the social services is like the creme de la creme of services, and it's horrible. It is so they're so inefficient. HUD, affordable housing. Murphy's signing, revamping affordable housing in New Jersey to make it more expandable. It's not going to be more expandable. I've tried to deal with these people for years, and if you're lucky, you could go on a waiting list that lasts 5 years. If you're lucky, if you even get on the waiting list, I'm telling you, welfare is not glamorous in America, and there are people that cheat. There are people that, like Reagan said, the welfare queen, the person that picked up the welfare Cadillac. But it's far and few between. Welfare is horrible in the United States.
Taken out of context. Well, let's look why. I mean, again, we're decentralized. We're state and federal and local institutions. It's not coordinated because we know that's America. Home rule and everything is very important. So then you get these institutions, and state by state they're run, and there's not historical continuity. You'll read about how a state have one director. I'm just throwing things out there, and things like a HUD or local housing might work well for a couple of years. Then they leave, or a new administration comes into that state. They welfare is evil. People are lazy, and it gets cut. And they get people in there, state workers who aren't held accountable. So and there's no historical continuity. I know in Mercer County we've had years where these social services, I've been told, have been run well, and then it dips. New manager, new coach in town, less money, politics, the whole thing. And that's why if you were in Sweden, it'd be all different. Smaller country, top bottom down. Like let's say you had to go into a DIFUS situation in Sweden, you'd be in one building, you had one case manager, one therapist, and you would have them for as long as you needed them. Or if they weren't working out, they'd give you another one. And they wouldn't throw you out in a patchwork when you're 18, or they wouldn't like transfer you from group home to group home. They don't do that. But that's how it's set up in this country. It's set up to be fragmented and easily manipulated or set up for failure, depending, on the economy, who's in charge, and everything. And yeah, and some of the state workers, I know people who work at HUD. Some are really good people, but they're dealing with antiquated computers, a caseload they can't even deal with because they're underfunded and they don't have enough people. And that's.
Well, this piece of paper here is from the Affordable Housing Alliance that I picked up yesterday. It's a website, and it's just, trust me, I've been through this a million times, and that's fine. You know what? I'm fine the way I am. I mean, like I said, but the welfare queen, the average person on welfare, this is according to Paul Street, it's probably not changed, makes $4.35 a day or
So
something
they're
like that
working
on
poor from
welfare.
hell, yeah. And they don't.
It's
And what I
terrible.
found when I lived in D.C. with their homeless crisis there's this guy named Lynch, and I think I mentioned this, state-of-the-art homeless center, but it turned out most of the homeless people they're either mentally ill, drug addicted, and
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
accepted that way of life. Other people who were homeless for a while because abusive husband, their
yeah.
mortgage, they lost their job, they found ways eventually to get off the street. And they do. A lot of people are homeless. Once you hit like a certain age, that's what Lynch told me. Over 35 and homeless usually stay homeless. It's called settling. It's a way of life for you.
You know what? And I predict, and I'm going to make this predict, and I predicted this on Facebook a little while ago. More and more people are going to start to take this route and start to just, kind of live where they can because of the rising rent costs, especially in this state. And especially if you're like me, a lot of people aren't like me. I'm very physically active. I go and go and go and go, and I don't stop until I'm tired and I fall. I go to sleep.
And also, you took the bull
I've
by the horns. You said, "What can I do to maximize my situation?" And you took a step a lot
yes,
of people can't, won't, or too fragile to do. But you're doing it.
yeah. And yeah, listen, and nothing's permanent. I mean, I could go get a room in like when the winter when it gets really cold. But I'm telling you, more and more people are going to start to do this. Are going to start to work in the gig economy and start to forego this rent trap bullshit that I think
Yeah.
that where landlords come in and charge $2,000 a month. I'm on the Jersey Shore. Our rent was $2,400 for like practically a 1.5 bedroom
I saw
apartment.
your
And
place. It was a hovel. It was a
yeah,
hovel.
yeah,
Right.
it's insane. It's insane. And there are places right where I'm at now. I'm on the Jersey Shore that are $3,500 a month in rent. These landlords are out of state. They have mansions. And even if you get a room, everybody I know has a fucking room. Excuse my language, a room. Everybody I know, all my relatives. My brother's in the same position. I have a sibling who's living with my sister who's wealthy. My other brother, he's coming back from Florida and moving to New Jersey. He's looking for a room. Everybody's looking for a room. My nieces and nephews, they're in college. Room. Why? Because nobody can afford to live in this state. And it's not just this state, it's this country. Rising costs. I'm not going on an anti-capitalist rant here. I'm not saying we need to convert to communism and we need to eradicate private housing and private property. What I'm saying is that the living situation is not sustainable for millions and millions of Americans, and they're going to start to live in their cars. You're seeing tent cities pop up all over the place. Some close to here, Lakewood. Some of the beach towns have tent cities now. Yeah, and mental illness is a huge component. There's a lot of these people are mental, but there are also people that work and work and work like me that find it unsustainable to pay $1,000, $2,000 to a landlord for where I'm only sleeping at this place for 5-6 hours. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
What I'm doing makes sense, to me anyway. But whatever.
Yeah, I know they do affordable. We have that in New Jersey and Princeton now, and like they're building new homes near me, and 20% are affordable. which is somewhat nice because I think
Oh, wow.
it's not, I mean, and again, it's like a balloon. There's always pluses and minuses when you have new apartments and houses being built. One, the town gets less rent because a lot of these are rented. Some of you can buy. Two, you might get more kids in the school, which costs a lot more money. But at the same time, it does give people a chance to achieve the American and live in a stable environment, middle class, and also it gives diversity, which I don't have it's nice. I think it is somewhat nice to have a diverse town with different people from different incomes and with different occupations, the candlestick maker, the policeman, the teacher, whatever. Besides that, if you don't have that, it's just all the same people. It is. But yeah, it's you have a lot of forces against trying to get affordable housing going. A lot of forces against it. And stuff. But New Jersey's crazy. Money goes. We are only New Jersey, only in America. We're like, I think we're the richest per capita state in the country for income, and we have the poorest cities in the country. We have the richest. I think we're the richest state in the country, and at the same time, we're first or second, and we're the poorest. And I think we in Alpine, New Jersey, unincorporated. I think there's 2 people there, hedge fund people, who might have 9% of they all their money equals like 9% of the GMP of New Jersey. And then it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, we only got three minutes, so 2 minutes, so we're gonna have to wrap up things. When you're having fun, any predictions? I'll give you a quick one. Trump indictment's gonna keep going. You might see people like Mark Meadows, pressure put on them. The vice will tighten. People might feel safe, even though Trump loyalists will want to hang them, like Mike Pence. Mike, Mike, should you apologize for Trump wanting to hang you? Now he's starting to speak out. Chris Christie, if anyone, I don't know, even I think Chris Christie did leave. Anyone who follows Chris Christie, he left New Jersey being governor, the lowest ever, but people don't remember stuff, people in the rest of the country, with his way of talking, he might get some traction. My quick prediction. You have 2 minutes and 11 seconds. What are your predictions? And then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, hopefully no more wildfires in New Jersey. That would be my prediction. But I think we're going to see more wildfires in the state.
Yeah, climate change.
Show. But no, you're right. Christie he comes across as a tough guy. He talks like a tough guy. He was a Trump supporter, and then and he advised Trump for his debates, and then they're against each other. The Republicans hate him. Hannity hates him. Everybody hates him. Things change and the political winds change, and I wouldn't surprise. I don't think he's a favorite, but anything could happen. Anything could change. Right now, DeSantis is picking up a little traction, but still far beneath Trump.
That horse is dying right now. Right now, that horse is dying. And I think Christie, I think when Christie at the Cleveland Republican convention in 2016, when Christie supposedly jumped in front of Trump when a photographer was going, you can't have 2 narcissists like that, 2 alpha narcissists together at all. Christie could have been a great governor in a lot of ways if he stayed in the state. And he did pension me for him, he did Valley for him. But then he was gone. He goes out of control too. Okay, we got 1 minute. Again, check out Breathing with Bierman on Facebook, YouTube is my thing. What about you? Where can they find you? Uh-oh.
Adam?
Yeah, hurry up. You got 10 seconds.
Yeah, you cut out. I froze. Yeah, go to Bob Carson MMA on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun here today. Thank you.
Okay.